I'm a nurse and I do DoorDash as one of my side hustles. If you're new here, please follow me. I'm going to talk about all things DoorDash, share with you lots of tips and tricks. First year that I've really started to be consistent with it and see how big the financial results will be. I'm going to share 3 of the tips and tricks that I have for those of you who are wondering if DoorDash would be a good idea, or if you're a beginner, and if you're curious if this might be a good side hustle for you. Okay, tip number 1, this is about accepting orders. So you may have seen a lot of videos going around that talk a lot about whether the DoorDasher is going to accept or decline an order based on if it's low tip, no tip, if it's a good order, if it's a bad order. What is a good and a bad order really depends on your personal goals, your area that you're dashing in, your market. So my recommendation would be, if you are starting to dash and you're just learning, just accept every order that's at least $1 per mile. This is an example of what it will look like on the screen. You can zoom in and get more specific on the exact crossroads, like the streets that you'll be driving down to here. It shows you the total mileage and the total amount for the order. The only ones I wouldn't be accepting are like really low paying orders that maybe they're asking you to drive 7 miles for $1 or something like that. I have definitely seen those. So don't stress out too much about the numbers. What's a good and bad order? What do I accept? What do I decline? Try to keep it as simple as possible for yourself, because you do want to accept a lot of orders and practice, and you're just going to kind of be learning how to navigate the app and what the whole experience is like. Okay, tip number 2, and this might be an obvious one, but please track your mileage. Standard deduction for 2024 has actually increased to 67 cents per mile. So your deduction is 67 cents per mile for every single mile that you drive while doing DoorDash. So I include my mileage when I leave my house and all the mileage until I get back home. The mileage is more than just when you're taking the food from the restaurant to the customer's house. Then you also have to drive back to maybe a hot spot. Then you have to drive to another restaurant. Then when you're all done for the day, you have to drive back home. And if you've been accepting orders, depending on like what the app does and how big your zone is, you may end up 20 miles from your house. It's happened to me. And then I have to drive those 20 miles all the way back home when I'm done dashing. So that is all stuff that you can write off on your taxes. Please track your miles. Even if you think you're not going to make that much money doing this, you never know, and every little bit counts, especially when it comes to tax time. Okay, tip number 3 for now is to pick the days and times that are most likely going to be the most profitable or the most busy on the app if you want to make the most money. Definitely going to be making the most money for lunch, your typical lunchtime during the weekdays, your typical dinner rush for the weeknights, and then on like Friday nights and weekends. So my best advice would be, especially if you have limited time to dash, or if you want to dash in between other things that you have going on throughout the day, I would plan your dashing for lunches, dinners, and weekends. That has worked for me so far to be able to maximize my earnings. And again, you're focusing on earning the most amount of money in the quickest amount of time. So that's all for this video. I have lots more tips and tricks and lots more to come on DoorDash that I'm going to be posting every day. And I would love if you would please like and save this video if this was helpful to you, or share and follow along for more tips and tricks to come.